In the heart of rural Wiltshire in the summer of 1991, a unique week-long event unfolded in the tiny village of Box. The leisurely pace of English country life and its simple pleasures was shaken gently by unexpected visitors. The well-preserved delights of the village cricket match and the smack of ball on bat were joined by the insistent rhythms of other equally strange traditions. In a converted watermill close to the main line of Isambard Kingdom Brunel's Great Western Railway, the real-world studios of rock star Peter Gabriel played host to some 75 musicians and producers from around the globe. The main aim of Real World Recording Week was to record 8 albums in 7 days, an ambitious project in itself, but also to encourage the musicians from countries as diverse as China, Tanzania, North America, Russia, Colombia and Korea to forge a variety of partnerships.
No, the thumb for us or for these two, and this finger pulls down there.
The idea of these collaborations grew out of the festivals organised by WOMAD.
We go to Switzerland tomorrow,
Yeah?
only me and my band.
So is today the only day you're here this week?
Yeah.
All right.
It's a pity, but...
It is a pity. About 1980, I started listening to music from many other countries, and I got to know a group of friends, really, or acquaintances, who were beginning to share some of this enthusiasm. And there was very little available in the shops. It was very hard to hear this music. And we thought it would be great to see if we could create some sort of event where we could bring in a lot of these artists from around the world. And so that was really the conception of WOMAD. How many people do we get in here?
We can get, I think we can get about 600. We're aiming for 400.
Every year, all these different musicians come together from many countries and start playing with each other, sort of spontaneously, just around the sites and around the touring buses and so on. And we thought it would be great if this time, instead of just letting that flow into the wind, we should actually grab them all here, record them, and create a lot of situations where people could interact together.
Radio 1's Andy Kershaw entertains doubts about the outcome of these cross-cultural experiments.
I have to see how these collaboration things work out. You know, I'm not entirely easy about the idea of those. You know, I can't really see any reason why there should be any compatibility between a group from Colombia and a group from Tanzania or whoever gets together with who. These things sometimes can sound fine on paper, but they can be a frightful mess once they're on tape.
It's too early to know if Kershaw's doubts are justified. For their part, the musicians are keen. Kim Duk-soo of the Korean band Samul Nori, for example, is animated by the prospect of this collision of cultures.
He believes that the basic purpose of the past 35 years of his life has been to effect this meeting between between East and West, and therefore being here is a very, very natural extension of his entire lifestyle. What Samul Nori has done today is part of a rather ancient tradition, but something that's still practiced today. It's called Chishin Palki, which means treading the earth. And in essence, it's letting the local spirits know that you're here and that there are many important events involved in your being here. And he said, for example, WOMAD's right in the middle of their festival season, and we're on the first day of our recording for Real World Records. And therefore, we have all these important events coming up, and we want everything to turn out well. So we just let whatever spirits are around know that we're here.
There are a variety of working and recording facilities on offer at Real World. Some artists recorded their live performances at the gala concert, which rounded off the week's work. Here, the villagers of Box were treated to an all-star show in a marquee on the studio lawn.
I'm going to take the dog to the walk.
One of the artists that chose to record part of his music at the gala was Ayub Ogada. Ayub is a traditional musician from the Luo tribe in Kenya and plays an instrument called the niatiti.
It's a lyre. We carved the bowl out of a fig tree, and the arms made from eucalyptus. The strings are fishing line, and the cow skin from the back part of the cow's neck, not a bull. My music is based upon traditional stuff, but I write all my own. My experiences are very different. My experience is not 100% traditional. Got a lot of additions to the culture from the kind of life I've led. Each performance is different, as each day is different. So when I get up there to play, the songs may vary slightly depending on my experience for the day previous to that particular performance.
The first alliance of the week is between Ayub and the Senegalese drummer Arona, who adds his own incisive percussion to Ayub's melodies.
He just played some fantastic drums on one of my songs.
No, me.
Without even a rehearsal, that's what happened.
First take?
First take.
He didn't really play that much to start.
I really like what I'm hearing. It's great.
Great, I'm glad.
Yeah, so I'm anxious to hear the next track. So the feel is very gentle and very rhythmic.
That's the kind of person I am.
Yeah, that's great. That's.
The Real World studios were built to create what Gabriel calls a marriage of handmade and high-tech, making sophisticated studio technology available to artists usually unable to gain access to it. During the recording week, the facilities were used by the WOMAD festival artists.
The festival thing is now built to where this group of artists travels around together in 14 countries. And so this sense of community builds up on the road with these artists for the first time saying, oh, that melody is just like our old folk song. And, there are all these common elements. And to get that sense of improvisation and jamming, which happens on all of those festival tours, into the studio. This is the first time we tried to do that. Now, there's some chords you had on here, right? Because it was another sequence.
To cope with so many diverse musicians, Gabriel enlists several producers to help supervise the recordings. Carl Wallinger of World Party is to work alongside Gabriel in his personal studio. He's helping give form to the cross-pollination of ideas.
You know, I've sort of been joint chairs of this room up here, and it's wonderful for me to have someone else taking some responsibility there.
I get the feeling that he really wants a song to come out of this. Something that works in its own right in the same way that, you know, like a number, you know. A number you can like lean on the lamppost at the corner of the street listening to wafting out of a cafe and like stand there chewing gum to and think, you know, yeah, that's okay, you know. Rather than it being, I mean, we want a song, you know. I think he very much wants to try and find a song, you know, out of all this thing, rather than just having the groove. It's easy in a way to lay down tracks with everybody on them, but to make something that makes sense, like I said, it'd be nice if it came out of Radio 1 and sort of made sense to a lot of people, you know.
Wallinger and Gabriel were assisted by sound engineer Dave Bottrell.
You hear something like this, right? You hear something like this, which is a certain groove, and then you hear it a certain way, and you will interpret it and play, but the whole soup of that will become like a stew, and like an ethnic stew.
It's soup idea.
Yeah,
it's nice.
Yeah,
very nice.
And hopefully, when these other rhythms are done, you can start some rhythms for other people to build on top
Yes, right.
as well.
They begin with a rhythm track created by the percussion of Senegal's Arona and a melodic riff from Madagascar's Ross.
Arona was just, suggesting also to try like a slower thing. Ross I knew nothing about until about 3 months ago, and then there's this TV program on Madagascar that was sort of the introduction to me of him and his music. But I love what he does. I think he's a great writer too. And some of the instruments, you know, like this bamboo harp that he made himself, a beautiful sounding thing, you know, exquisite. And I mean, it gives us a sense of privilege, you know, we have the earning capacity just to go out and buy the instruments that we want, and there they are making the instruments out of bamboo and getting sounds every bit as beautiful as that which we get. And I think, you know, he's definitely going to be someone to watch, I think.
I played Valia and Kabosi. Valia is a bamboo harp from Madagascar, made with bamboo, and the strings are bicycle brake cable.
Jar Wobble was once a punk star with Public Image Limited. These days he has his own group, Invaders of the Heart. He provides a typically pulsating bass line with a strong reggae influence.
For me, music kind of makes itself. It's different for other players. But for me, I'm a very anxious sort of person generally, very uptight sort of a person. Music's the one thing. When I play music, or when I think about music, I lose myself, and things seem to work from the unconscious. So you open up and it's as if the music exists somewhere else, and you become merely a channel rather than the actual creator as such. And it's the thing that still surprises me, and it's the most exciting thing in my life. Suddenly you're playing, and it's later you think, where the hell did that come from? Where the hell did that come together?
Time has come and I won't leave you anymore, not anymore. Man returning from the spirit of his womb, I used to think you knocking when you said
vocals from Gabriel and others, the resulting composition is titled Taste of Lime.
Oh, you will never sweet unless you know the taste of lime. When you find a beat, love will never be a crime.
In writing rooms, workrooms and ad hoc studios around the Real World site, similar co-productions are underway.
When you find a beat, love will never be a crime. A crime, a crime. Seven calling, seven calling, seven calling in a dream. Seven calling, seven calling, seven calling in a dream.
The haunting music of singer Mary Boine is rooted in her native Sami land, or Lapland, and in the struggles of the nomadic Sami people to retain their lifestyle and culture.
For a long time, our culture and also the music has been very oppressed. The Scandinavians tried to make it disappear, but they didn't manage. It's still alive, it's still there, and me and my musicians, we are taking it, letting it flow again.
Mari's no musical purist. The flute player's from Peru, and her band embraces rock elements in its adaptation of folk sounds. The Korean quartet combined traditional and modern percussion. Following their success back home, the group's name Samulnori has become generic for this style of music. A Korean drum troupe might seem an odd choice to work with a Lap folk singer. It turns out that their music has more in common than they expect.
This is a very popular folk song in Korea.
Mari's from the very northern part of Norway, as he understands it, and she sang folk song from that area, and by some remarkable coincidence, it was very, very similar to a folk song from the region known as Gyeonggi Province, which is in central Korea. It surrounds the city of Seoul. So it was very natural for him to pick up the tone of her song and accompany her singing.
This collusion of talents is produced by Paul Brennan, an ex-member of the Irish folk band Clannad.
프로페셔널 음악인이었고 어머님 아버님이 그 영향으로 어렸을 때부터 해왔고 그래서 저는 굉장히 하느님께 감사해요. 많은 사람 중에서 폴 같은 친구를 만나게 해줘서.
To begin with, he feels very, very fortunate that among all the producers in the world and all the people that we could have ended up working with, that we got someone like Paul, because he says between Paul and himself there are many points of similarity. For example, Paul's parents were musicians, and Paul is carrying on in that family tradition. And Mr. Kim comes from the same thing. His parents were musicians, and he's carrying on a family tradition.
다섯, 여섯, 일곱, 여덟, 뿡. 알았지? 야, 좀 스타처럼 해라. 빌빌대지 말고. 어? 오케이? 징소리 좀 내봐. 징소리만 한번 좀 내봐. 시작!
Apart from working with Mari, Samuel Nori were asked by Brennan to provide percussion tracks for other artists. This means the Korean drummers breaking from their usual playing patterns to give Brennan what he wants.
What I'm trying to do is set up sort of grooves and moods for people to react and play to. The idea of collaboration is that people and musicians will play together. A lot of that time that I've heard people playing together in Ireland or in anywhere is after they've had about 14 pints to drink. And anyone, you know, they'll play with anyone.
Long after the Koreans who created the underlying rhythms have departed, Brennan is still adding overdubs from Mari Boine's group.
Nice, lovely touches, lovely flute playing. So it's just the same again. And in the beginning, maybe just a bit more space when you play. So give it a little bit of room, and then. Other than that, it's perfect. We already did some percussive things to Samuel Nori, who are gone today. So we just worked from that end, and now we're adding some more colours. So we're not sure what we're doing, but we like it.
Only banana.
Yeah, only because Russians like banana more. Most of
The classically trained Terem Quartet were visiting Britain for the first time.
Через музыку, в первую очередь.
We must have a connection. We must connect by music, not separate.
У нас разные деньги.
We have different money.
Но музыка.
But music is one everywhere.
Having originally met at the St. Petersburg Conservatory, the Terems perform their own versions of traditional music using the mighty bass balalaika, two domras, and the more familiar accordion. The task of recording them is put in the hands of pop producer Tony Berg.
Russian artists have almost a more foreign quality to them, to my ear, to I think, an American or English here than the Africans or the Asian artists who are here. Somehow this is such a disciplined form for them, and they have spent so long refining it that the task here isn't to alter it, it's to represent it well so that I can learn by it, so that we can learn by it, and then subtly try and initiate them into the Western recording process.
Fastidious about their own work, the Terem Quartet were also asked by Gabriel and Wiltshire to launch themselves into new territory, working alongside others to build up an ensemble number. First comes the rhythm track from the ubiquitous Arona.
Yes, this. Yes. Down.
The bass line is added by Wiltshire. And there's a flute melody from Guo Yue, a Chinese musician who began his career with the band of the Red Army.
Musically, I think there's a lot of link because musically, music always to do with notes and notation and scale. So a lot of country scale, I think, is very similar.
It's like almost you could just play along and just be going, and Dave could just go in and out at the point that he knows.
I can play. That 4 bars is not for beat, 4 bars.
There's also room for some dramatic overlays from Spain's virtuoso flamenco guitarist, Juan Canizares.
That's the bass keyboard, the foundation keyboard.
Yeah, cut that to begin for 1 bar.
Right.
Just for this. Just dead interesting combinations, you know. Like the flamenco player explaining a song via an interpreter to Arona from Senegal, you know. It's that the process of them explaining it to each other, let alone the music, is interesting. You know? It's fascinating.
Trying to loosen up the Russians too, that was fun, because I think everyone has their own different background and way of working, and I think for one, the flamenco player and the Terem Quartet, they both come from more sort of structured, disciplined and virtuoso playing, so to have them loosening up and not worrying too much about the mistakes has been an interesting piece of negotiation. I think one of the interesting things for all of us who saw the Terem Quartet is the way they approach their music. For a start, we had no idea if they're just taking the piss all the time or not. But secondly, just the styles are very different. They have these big sort of surges of sound and then retreat like waves. And they are so meticulous and accurate in what they do. It's like watching this sort of finely tuned machine at work, but it's a very much a sort of organic, breathing animal.
Конечно, конечно. Нет, там. If you play it the first time, right, and then you reiterate the melody on the octave. If you take the melody the second time.
Many of the African artists who are here have more experience cross-pollinating with Western music than the Terem Quartet does. They have performed almost exclusively in Russia, some trips to Finland and now recently Western Europe, but they've never been to the States, and I would say this to them is their most profound experience with Western musicians and Western culture. So there's got to be a good deal of culture shock going on for them, as there is for me.
Мы еще ничего не решили, просто попробовать. Да. It's very good. Very good.
A different and more intimate piece of teamwork involves Chinese singer Liu Sola and the Japanese percussionist Joji Hirota, whose regular job is musical director of the Lindsay Kemp Dance Company.
So lots of things, the same as Chinese music. It's like in the beginning, the people sing the same music, then they change. And now I'd like to, if we can bring this together again. Because people have the same feeling with music, the whole world. Yeah, but now Oriental music is very soft, and the European music and the African music is stronger than Oriental music. If those two different music together, it's like different races, it mix up. I just feel wonderful.
And like 3,000 years ago, we played the same instrument. I'm sure I found in Japan like 6 ocarinas, the clay South American flute. There in Japan 3,000 years ago, exactly the same. And also China have big influence to Japan, like 5 centuries. All Chinese culture, music, and writing, everything came in about 5 centuries, 4 or 5 centuries. Then we have very, very beautiful original people, more than they have.
Joji's introduced a rhythm track as the first step in another experiment, which also involves the Chinese flautist Guo Yue.
It was about spending our time up there looking for an idea. You know, it was a bit like we're homing in on a kind of what Van Morrison calls the Zen moment, you know, or trying to find just a bit of music that makes sense or that feels good, you know. And so we're like a bit like a missile that's guided towards, you know, the target, you know, which is the Zen moment, the good bit of music. And you think you see it coming up, but it turns out in the end to be a sort of grey cloud that looks solid on the radar, and you just go straight through it to the next thing. So, and you just sort of keep going really until you find that thing. And I was saying that I hope to sort of explode on impact just once when I'm down here this week would be nice, you know.
Ireland's Sinead O'Connor adds her distinctive tones.
I suppose people just connect to music, and I don't really understand I think that to discuss it and to analyse it and to go into it in great detail is a mistake, because if we were the kind of people that communicated through words, we wouldn't be musicians in the first place.
The drummers and percussionists find it easiest to team up with others. Joji's contribution stretched from musical impressionism to the calibrated electro approach of the grid.
My name's Richard Norris, and I'm from a band called The Grid, and we're doing kind of lots of collaborations basically. We play kind of very sort of modern dance music, and using a lot of electronic keyboard samplers and effects basically. So we just kind of try to marry that with whoever's around really, be it flamenco guitarists or you know, drummers or singers from Lapland or whoever. So it's as is a kind of main sort of slightly more Western approach to world music than the rest of them, I think. But that's what we're up to. Joji I didn't really know anything about until this session, and it's very curious because each culture places the beat, you know, where the one goes or the backbeat or whatever in a different place. And he's sort of on top, and it's very sort of fast, but it's a very sort of atmospheric and filmic approach to drums, and it feels very different to the way, you know, say like a Holmes Brothers, or I mean like a black soul drummer with someone sort of laid back and hit the snare way back.
The laid-back beat of the Holmes Brothers comes from Fairfax, Virginia, and underpins their gritty blend of barroom rhythm and blues and down-home gospel. Throughout the week, the Holmes Brothers pop up on all manner of projects and still find time to record their own album of gospel standards with producer Andy Breslau.
The Holmeses have been laying tracks with all different kinds of people. Sherman laid down some bass tracks with Paul Brennan. Popsy was doing some drum things from a Japanese drummer, a Tanzanian drummer, a Colombian drummer. The opportunities for kind of creative hybrids are endless here.
When it's working, you want everyone to hear it, and when it isn't working and you're just feeling it out, it's a delicate process. So we have to feel each other out.
The result of the Holmes Brothers teaming up with Gabriel is the fiery Burn You Up, Burn You Down. Remmy Ongala is a huge star in Tanzania. He and his Orchestra Supermatamila decide to record their album live in the studio with an invited audience.
Yeah, we say in music is one music in the world.
Music have got one language.
It is the same. If you go to Africa, if the Africa plays the music, you can try to sing it. It's the same. If we arrive here, we sing with the European men. It's good too.
Can anybody speak French?
Ongala's supercharged soukous guitars also prove highly compatible with gospel, according to the Holmes Brothers.
To have the opportunity to brainstorm creatively and have access to some of the world's greatest musicians in all kinds of different idioms, it's incredible. And the other night we did live, we did a version of Will the Circle Be Unbroken with 3 guitar players from Remmy Ongala band from Tanzania.
shouldn't just be a whole mesh of loose jamming, but we should actually focus in and try and get some song-like things out of this week. So that's why we have a sort of a poet's corner and the instant lyrics department, so that it isn't just a sort of instrumentalist player's paradise, but a writer's environment as well.
The jumble of rhythms, languages and voices produced a huge assortment of lyrics. One offbeat result of Writer's Corner, delivered on impulse by Ross, was a slice of Malagasy rap.
We have this kind of rap in Madagascar, but we call it zizi in another rhythm. But when I hear the African beat on Peter Gabriel's keyboard, I directly think to this form of rap in Madagascar and to make the connection from here, the rap, modern music, rap and everything. Not really a real rap from here and not also a real rap from Madagascar, it's between.
Mandera kani mieno ya no mitaraina kone tau male tunendanian sisi fiuvani bila hankalau chena no firi tonizo mfua no maraina kama malendaina de misasa tapa vema no tamba sutu café la se demande amunjini fesana terapia indiana bistangi be fa mandani vula ni takisibe frema gabie salam zanfone salam zanfona de salam zanfone sanal salam zanfone tungana pesana me defiravana nessa no me vusi lo zono mi fus papo que seu neira pensa pendileira timrara from and defendemos de salam zanfone salam zanfone.
A fusion of 3 diverse backgrounds from China, Japan and Ireland is one creative collaboration that's grown out of the WOMAD tours. Guo Yue, Joji and Brennan perform here at the week's closing gala concert.
For me, this is a dream come true this week. I mean, to get in a place full of people from many different cultures and countries, finding ways, enjoyable ways to sort of spend time together, work together, make music together. It's a very powerful thing for me.
Real World's Recording Week notched up all of its 8 target albums, some of which bear the fruits of the adventurous permutations of music and people that the week encouraged. Not all of the collaborations were successful. Some ended up as hopeful oddities, others as work in progress. But for a week at least, the spirit of artistic adventure they represent made a corner of Wiltshire into an epicenter of the globe's music.